Financial analyst and a good friend of mine and channel, Valiant Renegade, has issued a stern call to action. He's sounding the alarms for the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm to scrap their recently unveiled Mandoverse movie, which was set to be directed by none other than Dave Filoni. Why, you ask? Well, because of the disappointing ratings of Ahsoka over on Disney+. Okay, there's a bunch to unpack here, folks, but we gotta get into it, so here we go. Okay, Lucasfilm made quite the buzz when they announced this Mandoverse movie with Dave Filoni at the helm. This was back in April during the Star Wars celebration in London, which was otherwise a disaster. They painted a vivid picture of Filoni orchestrating the ongoing conflict between the Imperial Remnant and the budding New Republic. Filoni, with Jon Favreau by his side, intends to weave together the threads of Star Wars the original series into a larger cinematic extravaganza. However, as fate would have it, around the same time, Lucasfilm experienced a decline. Yes, Mandalorian Season 3 was very, very disappointing. Nielsen's numbers show that the show's total minutes viewed fell from a hefty 1.03 billion during Season 2's premiere to less than 823 million for Season 3. Now you might think Season 3 had a larger audience when considering its runtime, but here's the kicker. Nielsen tracks every single episode, and it turns out that many more of those minutes from Season 3 were actually people re-watching Seasons 1 and Seasons 2. That's right, in order to be fresh, people were returning to binge watch those two previous seasons. But wait, of course there's more. After the lackluster performance of Mandalorian Season 3, Lucasfilm rolled out Ahsoka, and oh boy, that did not fare much better. The series managed to pull in just 829 million minutes viewed on its first week, according to Nielsen. And that number actually includes both the first and second episodes. So by the second week, those numbers had plunged to just 487 million minutes. And the third week dropped even further to 459 million minutes, and you kind of get a theme going on here. Now, our buddy Valiant, he went to doing some number crunching, because he does that. He likes numbers, as I do, and he pointed out that these figures are not going to get any better. In fact, they have a very, very consistent pattern. They are always on a steady decline. Audience for Ahsoka just wasn't substantial enough to warrant turning it into a $400 million capital expenditure for a theatrical release. And he's right, and he said that brilliantly. He actually argued, as would I, that it would take close to $1 billion in global box office earnings to justify spending that kind of money. Furthermore, he emphasized that while it's not about the show being good or bad, it's all about the numbers, and there simply weren't enough eyeballs looking at it. Star Wars at this point seems to be catering to a smaller and smaller audience because, well, it was planned that way by Kathleen Kennedy when she wanted to get rid of the 50-year-old plus people that had been fans their entire life. The problem is, when you get rid of those people, well, they take a lot of other people with them, and you aren't developing a love for Star Wars any longer because you've pulled away the diehard fans and their kids, or perhaps their grandkids and their kids, and generations on and so on. Very short-sighted indeed. And because you're pulling smaller and smaller numbers, your audience has diminished to the point where the budgets for all these projects have ballooned beyond sustainable levels, especially when it comes to the TV product. And in the end, Valiant and I will probably tell you that Dave Filoni's brand of Star Wars is not even suitable for television, at least not in live action. You can certainly do things like this in an animated way, as had been done before, and it will be something that can be financially supported. But if Disney is still insisting on moving forward with this, especially if it's a live action, it has to stay on Disney minus. So of course the question remains, will Disney heed this financial advice from Valiant Renegade and, well, now my thoughts on the matter? Or are they going to dive into a Mando-verse movie? Because they have to see, just like we do, that, well, there's no audience support for it. In fact, I would even argue that at $400 million, VR is going on the cheap because it's going to cost way more money than that between the actual production expenditure, not the announced production budget, but it's going to cost even more in a capital expenditure in advertisement, or as he would say, ads in print, A&P. I think I have an even more important question. if the Mandoverse movie actually happens, are you, any of you, going to go see it? Fair question, I think. Please leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. And until next time, see ya!